way to 10 and H. H Street is just going down and down and down for city blocks. This actually wraps all the way around towards our friends, the OAN headquarters, not far from here in Washington. And I mean, just an amazing sight to see so many patriots coming out to celebrate their favorite president.
Exactly right. And so many people from far and wide all across the United States. And we've even seen some international Trump supporters here in D.C. this week. So I'm sure there's people from all corners of the world, especially all corners of the United States, here to see President Donald J. Trump in the flesh today here at Capital One Arena. People are so excited to see him. I mean, I'm getting flashbacks of the rally days, and
Right.
Despite the cold right now, people would camp out overnight to see him. They did not care if it was raining, snowing, what temperature it was. If it was really hot, they didn't care. So they made those sacrifices. They made their way to the rallies. They could not miss their chance to see our great president, one of the greatest in American history, President Donald J. Trump.
We actually have some lined up over there as well. We might be able to show their MAGA supporters who actually slept here overnight. So pretty exciting to see that people will be willing to brave the cold weather just to get out into the front of the line. And I think everyone making the most of what will take place tomorrow. Of course, it's been moved inside the inauguration itself due to the frigid temperatures. We're expecting possibly single digits, or it will at least feel like that with the wind chill. Of course, this has happened 40 years ago when President Reagan was inaugurated for the second time, and something, again, the Gipper and the People's President both hold in common, being sworn into the presidency beneath the beautiful Capitol Rotunda.
We'll see how the next couple of days unfold. It's going to be a wonderful time in American history. You're not going to want to miss a minute of it. So thank you all for watching RSBN, and huge thank you to Kid Rock for giving us a shout out on X today. Thank you for watching, everybody. And people here are just so excited. And this is exactly why I knew we were going to win this election. People were all asking me, Megan, are you nervous that the Democrats are going to steal or cheat? But I'm like, you know what? This thing is literally too big to rig. I see the enthusiasm. I saw this all election season, no matter where we were, no matter what state we were in, what city, what rural area, all different kinds of areas that we went to for the Trump rallies. This was the same enthusiasm everywhere. We saw so many people turning out to see President Trump, and you just did not see that enthusiasm at all from the other side.
And Michael Whatley as well, reelected as the RNC chair after an outstanding job and great work at the Republican National Committee. Of course, his co-chair, Laura Trump, who will be stepping down from that co-chair role, but extraordinary in how they reached out with early vote efforts. You saw truly a swamping of the vote and making it too big to rig. Of course, great attorneys on the ground when there was any question of election integrity issues. And we know that President Trump won in every state, 31 states, with some form of voter ID. Vice President Kamala Harris, successful in those 19 states and the District of Columbia that do not have any form of voter ID, but still a landslide election, 312 electoral votes for President Donald Trump, and the biggest popular vote win by a Republican since that of Bush 41 in 1988.
What a wonderful election it was, and I cannot wait till Donald Trump gets in office and enacts the same-day voting, voter ID, and paper ballot rule for all of our elections coming forth after this, because that's the only way you can truly, truly maintain the most election integrity. And I think it's going to be a great thing for American history American politics, American culture, American history going forward, all elections that are to come. I think that's the best possible way to do it. I mean, our founding fathers, if they knew about technology at the time, they would have probably written some kind of rule about that. But of course, how are you supposed to predict the future in that way?
Well, and the states and the counties have that security in doing this with their elections to make sure that they are free and fair. But we've seen things like motor voter happen during the Clinton administration, where you would have people, if they simply had a license, they could be illegal or of illegal status of some sort and obtain the ability to vote. So President Trump makes a lot of sense with just wanting that form of paper. We look at France has paper balloting. Other countries have a way of doing it very quickly with election integrity, and I think we're getting there. I'm very positive to look at that, especially with secretaries of state that knew they were under the gun and had to reform their offices, Republican and Democrat alike. I think mostly of the Peach State of Georgia and the Wolverine State of Michigan, where we had both secretaries of state, Republican and Democrat, saying we will have results the night of. We pledge that to you. And then I'll never forget when Brad Raffensperger said that the vice president simply cannot find the votes to get across the threshold. President Trump has too much support, and that led him to becoming reelected and the president of the United States.
Exactly. It was too big to rig, baby. Thank you all
It's
for going
exciting.
out to vote.
Absolutely. So we've been sent kind of in this section.
Who's excited and loves RSBN?
I
They're
don't know.
chanting USA.
Oh, there we go.
They said, we want Trump. They said, Daddy's home.
Ma'am, how long have you been
They love
waiting out here to see
RSBN.
President Trump?
Since about 1 o'clock this morning.
1 o'clock this morning. Wow. What inspires you to brave the cold and the rain and all of the weather that's happening right now?
We're so excited. We've been praying for this day for 8 years.
Amazing. And what's the most exciting thing you're looking forward to in a second Trump administration?
Seeing all the amazing things he's going to do.
A golden era.
Too many things I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely. And where are you in town from?
Maryland.
Fantastic. So not too far. Absolutely. Can we make Maryland go red soon?
It is, except for the metro areas.
Right. Got to make our cities great again. President Trump focused on that. Thanks. Have fun today. Absolutely. Who's excited to see President Trump? Wow. What's up, brother? How are you? It's good to see you. It's my friend over here from San Diego, Joey. He is the man. He's killing it on the ground. And thanks to good people like Joey here, California is going to go red soon. Let's get it done, brother.
Turn California red.
It's grassroots warriors like Joey getting it done every day for the American people. And that's why President Trump is back in office. Thanks, brother. Great seeing you. Absolutely. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Absolutely. Where are you in from?
New York City.
I love it. Now, New York, were you at the Madison Square Garden rally or the Bronx rally?
I was in Long Island.
I love that. That's fantastic. And are you seeing kind of a swing to the right in New York City? How is that going about in the Big Apple?
I was completely surprised that it actually went blue because I thought it was going to turn red because the rallies were crazy and stuff like that. And I was shocked by 9:15. They already called it, and I'm like, something was weird there.
Right, absolutely. So, you know, Eric Adams has gone down to Mar-a-Lago. He looks like he wants to work with President Trump. He's a former law enforcement agent himself. Seems to have a lot of common sense, and both men are saying, doesn't matter what party it is, we have to protect our citizens.
It shouldn't matter what party you are. What I'm saying is, especially when you coming into the politics world, you know what I'm saying is, you're for the American people. You know what I'm saying is, it should be exactly for the people. Like you had mentioned, he's an officer, you know what I'm saying, he should back his cops, you know what I'm saying is, and protect our country. And make sure that everything that we do have is good. For instance, our crime in New York City got to go down. Like, you know what I'm saying is, with the congestion pricing, it's going to make it much worse.
And how's that affecting the crime in New York City, affecting businesses, affecting really just the enjoyable way of life they could potentially have in the world's greatest city?
It's like the congestion pricing right now it's a lot of MTA is getting what they wanted. The rental view, because no one wants to, you got to pay $9 if you get over on the east side and stuff like that, and it's ridiculous. And then I feel like the crime is going to eventually go up more, because now you get more people's like, ooh, robbery, stuff like that.
Right, exactly. So it's interesting to see how you think Mayor Eric Adams will be able to work with President Trump using Operation Aurora.
I would say, you know what I'm saying, get rid of the congestion pricings. The one thing I gotta say, Governor Kathy Hochul, I can't pronounce her name correctly, she wants to put NYPD on the trains and stuff like that. Hopefully that will stop the traffic. That will stop the crimes, and especially people not paying for the subway.
Right, exactly. No, it's very true. And what are you most excited to see with President Trump today and tomorrow as he becomes the 47th president?
I'm looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying? This is my first time in Washington, D.C., attending a rally. And tomorrow I'm praying to go in. I'm hearing different things. I had tickets when they were outdoors. Supposedly the tickets I do have won't let me in, but I'm going to still try.
Hey, you might as well. You're here in our nation's capital. Enjoy, my friend. Absolutely. Have a great one. And we'd like to thank our sponsors here at Right Side Broadcasting, Americava Coffee. You know, America is about to enter this golden age tomorrow, and it's about peace and prosperity, peace through strength. And that golden age starts every morning with a cup of Joe and the best of the Trump Gold Blend from Americava Coffee Company. Americava is woke-free, America first, and 100% made in the USA, grown in the tropical islands of Hawaii and roasted in the free state of Florida. This coffee is smooth, delicious, and mold-free, 100% natural. So go with the guys who support our values. There's a blend for everyone, from Let's Go Brandon to the light roast and the MAGA Nation medium roast. And Trump Black Dark Roast, a personal favorite of mine if you like that French roast. For a limited time now, RSBN viewers can save up to 10% for the entire order of specialty premium American coffee with promo code RSBN. Together, let's make coffee great again. Megan, I think you got to interview my friend here, Joey, because this guy, let me tell you, he was crushing it in San Diego, continues to, and he's going to make California great again. It's good to see you, my friend.
Hi, Joey. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Megan. Thank you for having me.
Tell us about what you've been doing in California on the ground as a grassroots movement.
Sure thing, yeah. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Joey Chavez. I'm a fourth-generation resident of San Joaquin County in the Central Valley, and I come from a farming family. I do a little bit of grant writing now after college, but what I've been doing on the political side is I've been working with the young Republicans to develop momentum, to find candidates, support them financially, and most importantly, motivate young voters to become commission members, to get involved with their city councils, and take a step forward. The problem with California is that the Democrats have built out their bench 20 years, 30 years in advance. I know that President Trump and Vice President Vance are very confident in the fact that the Democrats have no national bench right now, but states like New York and California have built them out extensively. And with the young Republicans, we are finding new leaders between the 18 to 40 demographic. We're getting them appointed to commissions. We're getting them running for office. We're building that bench. And it's been a pleasure in the San Joaquin Valley. We got hit hard due to a mixture of voter fraud as well as just low voter mobilization. We lost Unfortunately, Congressman John Duarte and Kevin Lincoln lost just by a hair, but we're not letting up. We're moving, and we're looking forward to 2026, partnering with Scott Pressler and hopefully Turning Point USA.
That's incredible. What you're doing is very important work, especially with the next generation, because, like you said, if the Democrats have everything built out for the next couple decades, we need to make sure on the Republican side and the conservatives are really paying attention to that and preparing the next generation to step in, because eventually we need the new leaders that are going to be coming down the road in the next couple election cycles.
Absolutely.
So tell us about what you saw in California during election season.
Perfect. Yeah, so I could speak to this specifically in California District 9. I worked with Jim Shoemaker, who ran for state senate back in 2024, and as well as Kevin Lincoln, who ran for California District 9. And what we saw throughout the year was all of the Democratic candidates not campaigning, not dropping any money. The only person dropping any ad buys were the congressmen. So everyone laid low. The Republicans worked grassroots. We were knocking thousands of doors every month. We're passing out our literature and getting the message out. But what we saw when ballots dropped a week early in September was we saw high Republican turnout early. The CAGOP was very confident in most of their swing districts flipping and our holds exceeding expectations. And all of a sudden in Stockton, we had nearly 30,000 same-day registrations happen in the ROV, and the Department of Justice got involved in our election. They got involved in, I believe, 54 ROVs throughout the nation. They chose Stockton, and they facilitated, according to some sworn affidavits from volunteers, I'm quoting them, voter registration outside of the registrar at the local concilio for people who didn't speak English and were allegedly minors on record. These were 15 to 17-year-olds being registered to vote, according to this affidavit, in Stockton. And based on some research performed by Larry Maloney out of San Jose, there are a lot of votes that should not have been counted that election. Not to say that there was enough fraud to actually overturn the deal, but we have people on record that have seen this happening. So my estimation is this is happening all throughout California. The issue right now is getting young people involved. The next issue that I think President Trump needs to make a priority is forcing big states, big blue states like New York, California, and even Texas to clean their voter rolls from the ground up. We cannot undo the damage. There's no overturning elections, but there is saving our future by identifying these deceased voters and making sure American voices are heard brightly.
That's right, and you're so correct on all of that. I mean, election integrity is of utmost importance, especially for the future. We can't do anything necessarily about what you said with the other elections in the past, but it's so important to make sure we maintain election integrity, and hopefully President Trump, as soon as he gets in there, he enacts voter ID, same-day voting, and paper ballots. I think that'll be huge, and of course, that's probably what our founding fathers always wanted, and how are they supposed to predict the future, knowing about the voting machines and all the craziness that's happening now. So you do a lot of work in Southern California or Central, because Stockton is in Central California, and then what about Northern California?
Perfect, yeah. So Stockton is located just south of Sacramento. So a lot of people consider it Northern California. I still consider it to be a part of the Central Valley, which is why the name of my Young Republicans chapter is the North Valley Young Republicans. The North Valley consisting of Merced, Stanislaus, and San Joaquin counties. I started off my political career down in San Diego. I went to UC San Diego, go Tritons. When I was down there, I got to work with Brian Marriott on his 2022 congressional campaign, inputting data. I really got my start going with a county supervisor named Joel Anderson. He was a longtime state senator back in the day, and I was impressed by his constituent services, his real care for his community. Was inspired to come to the Hill, intern, and I developed most of my campaign grit in Northern California. Southern California is a completely different game. When you're in Orange County, San Diego, and Los Angeles, money is the main differential. I mean, Scott Baugh, we saw in 2024, spent $30 million on his side just to be narrowly beat by Dave Min. Whereas in these Central Valley districts, you can flip a seat with $500,000 to $1 million if spent well, and if you spare the consultant overhead expenses. There are lots of ways you can go about it because the districts are so rural, yet purple. So most of my work has been done in California, Northern California, and it's completely different than Southern California, but the lack of money is both a challenge but a huge benefit that I was happy to navigate through.
That's great. I actually used to live in Roseville, California, which is a suburb of Sacramento. It's very beautiful, and Placer County is pretty red. So in Roseville, this is in the year 2019, there would be just organic grassroots enthusiasm of people gathering on the sidewalk to make basically little Trump rallies every single Sunday outside of the Costco. So I saw lots of MAGA supporters. I would drive up to Lake Tahoe. I saw Trump stickers on the cars. So I saw a lot of Republicans up in my area, and especially over in Lake Tahoe, and that was in the year 2019, 2020, around there. So there are tons and tons of Republicans that live in California. I don't think California is lost quite yet. I think there is so much enthusiasm. People care about the United States. People care about families, family first, and putting America first. So I actually want your opinion on the wildfires as well in Southern California.
Yeah, so the handling of the wildfires, complete travesty that was completely avoidable. If you look to Max Bonilla, he's this really, really great influencer on Instagram. I work with him, really good guy. Follow him. The Outraged Teen, I believe, Babyface Boomer is another one of his names. He actually pointed out that on December 24th, the County of Los Angeles sent out a memo noting that $17 million worth of money that was supposed to be devoted to water allocation, fire hydrant maintenance, was disappeared into dust. And coincidentally, 8 to 10 days later, at the start of the new year, the Pacific Palisades fire happens, takes out the whole city, and dislocates 180,000 people. And what do our local leaders have to say for it? What does Karen Bass, who was coming back from a visit abroad, have to say? Zilch. What does our governor, Gavin Newsom, have to say about his missteps? We need to focus on the legal fund. What does State Senator Scott Wiener have to say about servicing the people in Southern California that have had their property sold at a firebrand rate? Well, we'll administer some aid. We'll include that in the budget so long as $50 million is added to the Trump Defense Legal Fund. The Democrats are great at accusing Republicans of what they do behind closed doors and in the open. Case in point, I think that the Altadena, Eaton fire, as well as the Pacific Palisades fire were completely avoidable and are an issue of resource mismanagement. And it goes to show that we have plenty of water in California, plenty of runoff from the Sierras that are conveniently funneled into the Bay Area. I mean, Trump spoke about this at the CAGOP convention as well as the Coachella rally. It's completely common. We have the water, we have the dam storage, but for whatever reason, our top priority is to save the Delta smelt and, I suppose, water our lawns, but not take care of our residents. It's mismanagement, and I think that we need a change in leadership. With that change in leadership, I mean, the change is going to happen overnight, if not over a full 4 years.
That's right. And what happened in Southern California is just abhorrent. It's so sad to see so many people's lives destroyed, their homes completely burned to the ground. People have lost everything in these fires, and the leaders just don't really seem to care that much. And like you said, it's just mismanagement from the beginning. I mean, there's people whose full-time job is to pay attention to this kind of thing and make sure that they can prevent the wildfires or contain them as soon as humanly possible. And why was there no water in the fire hydrants? That's just insanity. So there's a lot going on over in California, and we need to get to the bottom of this because it cannot happen again. Any other thoughts on what you see here on the ground and the enthusiasm of people starting very early in the morning to come into this rally?
Yeah, so actually, I myself came here at 11 p.m. last night to scope things out. We had a great dinner at Le Diplomat, and my friends and I, who have never been to a Trump rally, didn't want to take a chance. So we walked over to the convention center, and then we walked another half mile to here. We stayed overnight, and the enthusiasm has yet to be matched. I mean, we have people from all across the world. We have some people from Canada. We got a lot of people from California. And I think that this rally's turnout really symbolizes the growth of the Make America Great Again movement over the course of the past 8 years. I mean, we saw people in 2016 have a lot of enthusiasm, and then in 2020, we saw our party at the state level in California as well as a national level become unsure about Donald Trump's vision for our country. We considered other candidates that didn't have as much tenacity. Perhaps it was not their time, and we lost confidence. However, after the primary, the right people stepped up in Georgia, Ohio, Nevada, and demonstrated what it means to make America great again, what it means to put America first. And it's great to see people won over by these ideals, and hopefully other people my age taking a stand and leading our country and leading the movement well beyond. This movement is not defined by Trump. It was started by Trump, and it continues with us.
So well said, and it truly is a heartbeat of American patriotism here on the ground in D.C. And people have come from far and wide, even international, like you said. And the enthusiasm of putting your country first, especially America first, is spreading across the world. And I think everyone is turning to wanting to make their own country great again and not succumbing to the globalist agenda to have a one world government. And we want to keep each country our unique country. So I think everybody is taking a note from Trump's bravery, and I think that energy is catching on throughout the world. Any final thoughts?
Well, have a great weekend. I'm sorry for the folks that came out to Inauguration and are not able to attend it in person. I'd suggest finding a nice watch party. I'm actually going to the Leadership Institute's watch party in Virginia tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2. As far as I can tell, it's free admission. You pay for your own food. Really good organization, by the way, if you are a young person that wants to get a start in politics. I did the Youth Leadership Program back in 2023. That led to the CLC and led to me becoming Deputy Campaign Manager over the course of about 10 months. So I'm going to have a good time. Make the most out of your time in D.C., wherever you are in the United States, and note that the future's bright, looks bright, and we're going to take back our country.
Wonderful. Thank you for everything, and keep up your good work.
Thank you.
It is so important to be paying attention to the young people across this country that actually do want to make a difference, but maybe they don't know how to. So having organizations like that for young people to get involved in politics is so important.
And Joey is just extraordinary. We actually enjoyed some breakfast burritos in San Diego in the middle of November talking political strategy. I'm telling you, if someone could make California great again, it's that young gentleman. And it's so true. His words ring so honestly that who made a difference in this election? Those Gen Z voters, those first-time voters, 18 to 29, such a large demographic, male and female, who came out to support President Trump. And I think a lot of it had to do with, the women dealing with men and women's sports right now. I mean, how unfair that has been, and Riley Gaines and others having to deal with such discrimination. Also, just the transgender antics in our military. And I think young people are saying, this doesn't make any sense. So let's get back to normalcy and common sense.
That's exactly right. And on that note about the left's crazy agenda about men and women's sports, and I want to also point out that the NBA and NFL cheer and dance teams started switching from all female to a co-ed mix, or getting rid of the girls altogether. And how is that women's empowerment? The left and the Democrats like to say they're all about female empowerment and women's empowerment. And if you had female cheer and dance teams, that was your one moment as a woman to really be involved in the NFL or the NBA. And then, of course, they're getting rid of half the girls and adding boys to the team. But when you look across the NFL and NBA, it's all men on the teams. It's all men as head coaches. Why can't the women stand up and have their moment to shine when they want to be a dancer in the NBA or a cheerleader in the NFL? So everything that the left does and says, it's just contradictory, and you really got to pay attention to what they're saying versus their agenda and what actually happens. And men and women's sports as transgenders doesn't help the transgender person. It doesn't help the women in the sports on the team. It's dangerous for the woman to be competing against a biological male. And everyone across the board that cares about their children, I'm sure all the parents who have daughters in sports, they're so opposed to this.
Absolutely. Can't agree with you any more than that. MAGA Megan, so focused on what's going on in the athletic community, Maha Megan, if you will, because it is true. These traditional roles should be celebrated and looked out for as we continue to go on into a golden era of United States policy. President Trump looking to really protect men and women as we move forward here, and so much going on Capitol Hill as his nominees are facing extraordinary questioning in the process about how they will move the future. So we might have to move this umbrella because it's not raining that hard anymore.
Okay, let's get the umbrella out.
There's no doubt about that. So we see this line up ready to go. People excited to see President Trump outside the Capital One Arena, some buildings around us, Catholic Charities, of course. If you go down the way, you'll see our friends over at OAN, and we're right next to the Martin Luther King Library. Of course, tomorrow we'll be celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a fitting day to inaugurate President Donald Trump, a man who has fought hard for civil rights throughout his career. He was someone who brought Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson to the table when people were not hiring minorities in the late 80s, early 90s in some New York businesses. He went out of his way to make sure that that would happen. You think about the Mar-a-Lago Club. It had banned Jews and blacks as an old Dixiecrat party had controlled the city. President Trump was the first club owner to open up membership to minorities. So the far left narrative coming from people like Al Sharpton, they seem not to remember how President Trump helped them out in the past.
Identity politics is absolutely eradicated because of President Trump. He has exposed all the lies of the left. Identity politics was a disaster from the get-go, but some people did believe it. But now, like you just said, when the Democrats tried to accuse him of not supporting minorities, and then you actually look at what he's done, look at his actions, that proves that notion absolutely false. And I want to tell you guys about one of my favorite products and our favorite sponsors here, Angel Paste. So it's a miracle cream that does wonders for your skin. The hundreds of 5-star reviews of RSBN viewers themselves tells you all you need to know about this great American-owned company. Everything is sourced and made right here in the USA. Angel Paste Miracle Cream was created 15 years ago and has been getting rave reviews ever since. The most popular Angel Paste is the orange because of the immune boost it gives your body, and the Jasmine Miracle Cream, which repels mosquitoes. The vanilla is packed full of skin-plumping vitamin D, and the sandalwood is perfect for men. The Miracle Mist is a hypochloric acid spray that releases and soothes your skin, but does not dry it out. It's perfect for men because it comes in a black glass bottle and is super low maintenance and manly man approved. Right, Bobby?
Yes, ma'am.
Angel Paste has been supporting President Trump since the escalator and is a Christian-owned company that hires veterans. Ann 80 bought Angel Paste, and here's what she had to say. Angel Paste is the way to go. I wondered why my skin was always itchy with other products I was using, then I found Angel Paste. My skin is so soft and hydrated, and I'm glowing at the age of 80, and my itchy skin disappeared. Thank you so much for this wonderful product. I buy the unscented, and I also have the jasmine. I can't wait to try your other products. What a great review from Ann. So go to angelpaste.com. That's angelpaste.com, ANGELPASTE.com, and read the glowing reviews. You can even get 10% off with code RSBN.
You know, I tried it myself in the studio, and wow, it does work. It's quite nice. We'll keep on going down the line here. I'll pick up the umbrella. Thank you, sir. Pleasure talking to you. Cowboy hat, how are you, sir?
How you doing?
Excited for President Trump and all that is MAGA. Where are we at now? 25 hours until President Trump is sworn in as the 47th President of the United States.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where are you in from, New Jersey?
I'm New Jersey. I'm a longshoreman up there. He helped us out. I'm all about Mr. Trump and ready for it tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Did you go to the Bronx rally or Madison Square Garden?
I did not, unfortunately. This is my first rally.
Hey, but you're here for one of the biggest and the best. I mean, this line is going all the way down. It's taking up all of Chinatown down to 8th Street. I mean, it's really an incredible crowd.
Around a few blocks, I'd say.
So what are you looking forward to most, especially with your work as a shoreman, with President Trump being once again in office?
There was a big difference. I was a longshoreman 10 years ago when I started, and he was president. And when he was president, we had a lot more American products going out. Now, we past 4 years, we've had a lot of empties going to China and getting filled up and sent back to us.
Right. So you're seeing a lot more of imports now versus export economy.
Correct. Yeah, it's a big difference that I've noticed, and I see it firsthand. Everything comes to us first.
Now, how are you dealing with the port issues with the Chinese Communist Party? They want to influence the ports. We've seen how they've tried to buy farmland around our military bases. So how much of a national security issue is this, and what have you seen on the ground?
Oh, I see from the USMX. That's what I see, and that's foreign conglomerates that are making the money off of our backs, American workers' backs, and that's what we see. It's the United States Maritime Alliance with Chinese on the board.
Right.
So it kind of doesn't make sense to me. So we're looking forward to doing. We've got a new contract that we're set to put in place. So.
Wonderful. And what are you most excited about seeing President Trump today? It's your first MAGA rally.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see him. It's a great feeling. It's like check off the bucket list.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, thank you. Enjoy your day, sir. And we will be coming right back to you live from Washington, D.C. Stick with RSBN. We'll be back right after a quick commercial break.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra My Pillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic My Pillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen size My Pillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use My Pillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size My Pillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front-row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
And welcome back to Washington, D.C., outside the Capital One Arena, where President Donald Trump, number 45, and in 25 hours, the 47th President of the United States, about to give a MAGA rally to all of these great patriots outside. Who's excited to see President Trump? And for some of the patriots, their very first MAGA rally here in our nation's capital. We'd like to thank AMAC, our wonderful sponsor. Are you looking for a voice that truly represents your values? Meet AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. Founded in 2007, AMAC was created to be the champion of the needs of Americans who believe in faith, family, and freedom. Today, AMAC is over 2 million members strong and growing. The mission is quite simple but powerful: to protect the interests of freedom-loving Americans all around our wonderful country and advocate for common sense policies by offering incredible member benefits, including the award-winning AMAC magazine, from exclusive discounts on travel to insurance, specialties, and everyday services. To be a strong voice in Washington, AMAC is here to make that difference in your life and in the life of our nation. They are committed to timeless American values, and right now, regardless of your age, they're offering an incredible deal. Enroll now in a 5-year membership to AMAC, 47% off. Visit amac.us/RSBN today. That is amac.us/RSBN. Join AMAC, become part of this movement that stands for you, your family, and your future. And Megan, so excited to see the Trump effect really coming into play in the last few hours of the Biden administration. Of course, TikTok is now dark, so President Trump will have to decide whether or not to extend that 90-day extension, given that there is a provision in the law to do so. We also have a ceasefire agreement and 3 hostages soon coming home from Israel.
Well, we all know President Trump is the great negotiator, and of course he's doing that not only here in the United States but on the global scale. So he's going to be doing that, working with the leaders from China to hopefully come to an agreement on TikTok, get that figured out, and then of course the Israel-Hamas situation that's happening over there. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a glorious day tomorrow when President Trump gets in office. He's got plenty of executive orders to get signed. We have a lot of work to do. The Biden administration did a large amount of damage here in the United States over the past 4 years, and Americans have been feeling it. That's why we voted for President Trump to get back in office. And of course, first and foremost, I have great news. We are going to close the border tomorrow. I cannot wait for this to happen. January 20th, we are getting so close to the big day, and I have some wonderful young Trump supporters here that would like to say something to the people of RSBN. Hi, girls. Where are you from?
Maryland. Yeah, we're from Maryland.
Are you sisters, friends? Tell me about this.
We're sisters, and she's our friend.
Love your face paint. Very patriotic, very enthusiastic. So you have your Trump fight, fight, fight shirt on. Is this the same? Unburdened by what has been. Check that out. Love it. Thanks so much for joining us today. What's exciting to you about President Trump? And you're not old enough to vote yet, are you?
Almost.
Okay, so not even old enough to vote yet, but so enthusiastic that they got all dressed up and came out here to support President Trump. So what do you love about Donald Trump?
Everything.
I love his policies, and I hope that he can make the country a better living for us since we're about to turn 18, and I hope he can make it a better living for us soon.
That's right. The next generation standing up for their future. And of course, the president has a ton of involvement in that because, as you can tell, over the past 4 years, the damage that Biden has done, and of course, when Obama was in office, for 8 years, lots of damage had been done then. We want to get the economy growing back again so you guys could afford groceries, maybe afford a house at some point, want to get a good car. So that's super important for the young people. And have you been to any Trump rallies before this?
I've been to one before.
And where was that?
It was in North Carolina in 2020, I'm pretty sure.
So the 2020 era during the COVID shutdown, how was that? Can you describe the rally for us?
It was really fun. It was way less chaotic though. It seemed very chill compared to what it is now, very laid back, but it was really fun still. Everyone was very energetic and everything.
That's great. And do your parents talk to you about politics, or did you form your opinions on your own? Do you use social media to look things up? Tell me about that. Like what interests you about politics?
Well, our parents tell us about it kind of, but yeah, they talk to us about it, but I mean, we learn a lot in school and online and everything, but I'd say a lot of it does come from our parents, but we agree with it, so.
That's lovely. And what are they teaching you in school about politics?
They're very left-wing in school. They definitely don't do traditional values in school. They're very more on individualism and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Sad to see that the public school, is it public or private? Public school system specifically is teaching left-wing ideology in our schools. I mean, if they at least just talk about history, talk about the Constitution, and keep it neutral, I would prefer that over anything. But I mean, America First should not be controversial, shouldn't be left versus right or Democrat versus Republican, but of course that's what it's turned into. So putting your country first, loving the United States, that should just be a patriotic American thing, not necessarily Republican or Democrat. But that's what you're seeing in these days. And is there anything else you'd like to say to the people who are watching RSBN right now?
I just want to say hi to all of our friends. Hi, Daisy.
And get ready for a better country.
Wonderful. And last thing I wanted to ask you all, what do you think about the TikTok ban, and are you hoping President Trump figures something out to bring it back? Because I'm sure you love TikTok. If you're anything like my nieces who love TikTok, they're 10, 13, and 19.
I actually went on it this morning, and it kicked me out of the app, and I was like, oh no. But honestly, I feel like it might be better if it's banned. Just for me personally, because I go on it so much. But I feel like I'm hoping he's able to bring it back, because so many people use it for all their information, and everyone posts their lives on it. I just feel like it's pretty important, and they have a bunch of other social media as well. So I'm hoping he brings it back.
Yeah, I think so many people have quit their jobs to do that as full time, so it's kind of important to a lot of people, but I don't know.
it has turned into a business for a lot of people, or if they do have a business and they're making content around that, and then of course influencers too. So great points from all of you. Thanks so much for joining us, and have fun at the rally. Thanks, girls.
Undergo a transfer of power.
Megan, I'm
During
seeing
this handoff,
Canadians
a new
for
cabinet
Trump,
will be
a great
seated, a new
sweatshirt
Congress
just
will get
down
to
the
work,
way here.
and most importantly, a new
Gentlemen,
president will be sworn in.
Our friends
But while
from the
these
north, I
government
like those
transformations
sweaters.
happen
Let's go,
every
Brandon.
few
Canadians
years,
for
a
Trump
few
as
symbols
well.
of
What
American
do you think about all this
democracy
talk with
always endure.
President Trump
The
perhaps
presidential fleet of
leading the way
aircraft is
to
one of But what about the vice president's plane, Air Force Two, who want to be protected and safe during their travels? While most of us don't have access to that level of security, safe during their one major objective: keep the president and VP protected and safe during their travels. While most of us don't have access to that level of security, we can still take steps to protect ourselves, especially online. That's where Delete Me comes in, today's sponsor. Then entities of because of that by a common misplane is not Air Force 2. The terms Air Force 1 and Air Force 2 are call signs used to distinguish any fixed-wing military jet that's carrying America's top brass. So if the president wanted to pilot an F-22, that Raptor would technically become Air Force 1. Similarly, if the Veep hitched a ride on a B-2, that giant flying triangle would now become Air Force 2. The plane that we typically refer to as Air Force One is actually a VC-25A, though I'll still call it Air Force One for simplicity's sake. The VC-25 is a heavily modified 747-200, and for those familiar with the 747 family, you'll know the 200 variant is no spring chicken. As a matter of fact, Boeing stopped building the type in 1991, and only a handful are still in operation today. This has become a problem for the US Air Force, since finding spare parts is becoming harder and more expensive. So in 2015, the Air Force kicked off its replacement efforts. In that year, they agreed to purchase a pair of 747-8s to serve as the next presidential aircraft. This choice was actually pretty straightforward. The Dash 8 has a lot in common with the existing Air Force One fleet, while also being larger, more efficient, and easier to maintain. But while Air Force One now has a clear line of succession, Air Force Two does not. The Air Force Two fleet is made up of C-32As, which are modified Boeing 757s. Now these aircraft aren't exactly spring chickens either. They're now 26 years old. And if we use the Air Force One replacement timeline as a template, it could take up to 15 years for them to actually be phased out. So it's probably a good idea to start drawing up succession plans now. But as far as we know, there are no such plans in motion. And that's probably because there is no obvious way to replace them. You see, while Air Force 2 is primarily used by the VP, it also serves a critical role for the president. Notably, it flies the president into much smaller airports that just can't handle the much larger Air Force One. For instance, when President Trump flew into Orange County back in 2020, an airport whose primary runway is just 5,700 feet, he had to use the vice president's plane. In short, Air Force 2 has to be extremely versatile, and there's arguably no plane that's more versatile than the 757.
Looking for what comes next? For that moment when everything finally...
1 minute!
Whichever path you choose, it starts here.
Not only does it have fantastic range for its size, but it's largely considered to be overpowered, with many pilots comparing it to a sports car. Its high thrust-to-weight ratio means it can take off from very short runways, allowing it to visit even small regional airports. So when searching for a replacement, the Air Force is gonna look for a plane that can match its versatility. The problem is that there really aren't any. Boeing's closest modern-day offering, the 737 MAX 10, is almost certainly out of the running. It's about the same size as the 757, but it's a major step down in raw performance. Its max range is shorter, and it eats up much more runway during takeoff. And of course, there's the fact that the 737 MAX family has faced all sorts of safety questions. A much more suitable replacement for the 757 is the A321neo. Most airlines are actually already using this plane to replace their commercial 757s. And while its short field performance isn't quite as good as the 757s, its range is actually much better. Not only that, but other governments, like those of the UK and Germany, already use it to transport dignitaries. But thanks to geopolitics, the Neo will never actually be considered for the Air Force 2 job. That's because Boeing is just too important for the American economy. It's the country's biggest exporter and employs tens of thousands of US citizens. Meanwhile, Airbus is European-based, and having America's top executives fly on a European jet is just bad optics. Now, it is worth noting that Boeing's next plane is likely to be a 757 replacement and Neo competitor, but it probably won't hit the market until the mid to late 2030s. And the Air Force isn't likely to be an early adopter. They'll want to wait for the platform to reach maturity before entrusting it to transport high-ranking officials. As such, they probably wouldn't adopt it until the 2050s or even the 2060s. So we find ourselves at a bit of an impasse. The Air Force will want an American jet to serve as the next Air Force 2, but Boeing isn't going to have a suitable replacement for quite some time. So what's the Air Force to do? Well, they're going to have to get creative. Remember, the reason that Air Force 1 is being replaced is due to maintenance concerns. And of all the components on a jetliner, the one that requires the most upkeep are the engines. The reason is pretty straightforward. A turbofan's internal parts are subject to high pressures and scorching temperatures. Meanwhile, the actual airframe doesn't take as much stress. That's especially true for Air Force 2, which doesn't fly nearly as often as a commercial jetliner. So perhaps, instead of replacing the entire plane, the Air Force can just retrofit them with new modern engines. Whoa, hold on. Back in 2019, I made a video that explicitly said that Boeing can't re-engine the 757. So did something change, or what's the deal here? Well, I stand by everything I said in that piece. It's still far too expensive for Boeing to re-engine the 757 for commercial purposes. But the US Air Force doesn't operate in the highly competitive airline market. Instead, they have innumerable resources, and can hand Boeing a blank check to re-engine Air Force 2 specifically for their needs. Boeing has actually already done something similar when it re-engined the Air Force's KC-135s. The KC-135 is a refueling tanker based on the 707, a plane that first flew in the 50s. The Air Force has hundreds of them in their arsenal, and in the early 2000s, they tasked Boeing and GE to upgrade their engines. They were ultimately retrofitted with the CFM56, the same type of engine found on the 737NG. And while the project was expensive, it extended their service life by decades. Re-engineering Air Force 2 could have a similar effect, extending the life of the airframe until a real successor is available. But this kind of project would still face challenges.
Verizon is bringing the Super Bowl to 30 cities across the country with an experience like no other. Verizon Super Bowl Fan Fest.
Specifically, engine selection will be difficult. After all, Air Force 2 is powered by the Pratt & Whitney PW2000, which itself has no real replacement. The two modern-day engines that most closely match its performance are the LEAP 1A and GEnx, but neither are perfect fits. Of the two, I think it's way more likely that the Air Force tries to upscale the LEAP 1A rather than downscale the GEnx. The GE is just too big to fit under the 757's wing. But squeezing an extra 7,000 pounds of thrust out of the 1A, and then figuring out how to best integrate it into the airframe could take several years. Luckily, the Air Force does have some time. While the PW2000 is an aging engine, it still has some life. Most notably, it powers the Air Force's fleet of C-17s, meaning there are still plenty of spare parts to go around. Ultimately, the path to replacing Air Force 2 is just kind of messy. There's no clear-cut solution, and there probably won't be one for decades. But the Air Force is gonna have to find a successor eventually, and they may have no choice but to re-engine the 757 as a stopgap. Sure, it would be costly, and the solution would be a temporary one, but it would result in a truly unique jet, giving the US Vice President arguably the coolest plane in the sky. Now, a lot of attention is paid to Air Force One and Air Force Two, but the US government is far from the only one that operates unique aircraft. From Germany's Merkel 1 to Russia's IL-96s to Algeria's A340-500s, heads of state get to fly on some really, really cool jets. And I'm curious, if you could pick one to call your own, by placing Air Force 2 a whole lot sided against it, be sure to check this link right here. And as always, if you
Welcome on board Rescue Engine 23 track.
Snowed a bit, that's why it's all white. We got a lot more to walk. Okay guys, on the other side of this bridge is the Memorial Bridge. You can see the emergency vehicles already. Let's get closer. Okay, we're in the tunnel when we get water. All right, that's where the car went over. Still a huge response. There's a whole section of the bridge railing that's missing. There's the divers down there. Zoom in a bit. There's the fireboat. Looks like a dive boat. And you can see the bridge is missing there, where they went through the bridge. They're saying it could be as many as 2 cars in the water. Not really sure. They're getting an airboat sent up from the airport to go over the ice. All right, let's see how much closer we can get. We're not allowed on the bridge. The cop told us to stay off the bridge. But we can get a little bit closer, I think. Now, there's a huge response down here as well. Let's go check this out. The command unit out here today. There. This is the view from the bridge. I think the car on the left is the car that got hit, and then the other car went over the edge somehow. And then back that way, the Teddy Roosevelt Bridge, and the bridge we were looking at is on the other side. A second patient in the car, not area, so no pedestrians will fall over. It was basically a pedestrian guardrail that the vehicle went through. Whoa, and they've got a couple lanes blocked. Which I just can't understand how it did that. It must have been flying. And went over right here where they put in those barriers now, those Jersey barriers. Now this crane is supposed to leave, and then another crane is coming to remove the vehicle. Supposedly there are miles of no parking or something else. Down is the archives. We can, it's the only way to do it. Considered socialist. The guy who did it, though, he didn't really care about money because his brother invented, or Woody Woodpecker. Yeah, the artist who made that statue, his brother created Woody Woodpecker. So he was fine. Well, that's one way to beat the traffic problem. Get a one wheel and roll your way to work. There are a lot of people complaining about government being off during Inauguration Day, like a holiday for DC workers. Hey, it's basically a holiday right now because there's no way to get around downtown with all these fences. I bet most government workers are work from home today. Are they still over there? Have I missed it? Blame the traffic again.
The work and putting our futures in
20. Holding, because that's kind of unique. So we're down in the general public area of the National Mall, where they have set up just bajillion folding chairs. Usually people stand, but I guess for this one, they want people to sit down. It'd be an interesting way to track how many people actually show, because you know how many chairs you rented. tour route. Tour route from China, all with the matching coats. There's one heck of a lot of chairs. Let's see if we can get in the center of it to get a good picture. Oh, there's an aisle down the center. And then there's another batch way down there by the National Natural History Museum. And we're up here. Let's get this picture. I don't know what they're up to. A test flight. Yep, he's going in right now. He's going in now. Okay guys, so a lot has happened in the last 2 hours. They're pulling the truck out. I had to leave because we got to go to the White House and film Marine One's arrival, or departure, and then arrival. We may go back if we have time. The inauguration is more or less indoors. There's not going to be a parade. It's going to be indoors. There's not going to be a ceremony. It's going to be indoors. So my credentials are all a mess now, so I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm getting hints I might have to go to Andrews Air Force Base. So let's go in now and see what we can see, and then we'll figure out Monday a little later. Okay, we are on grounds. We'll make it for the helicopter. A couple news crews doing a live hit. It's cold, cold, cold. So it's going to be an interesting Monday. I will not be in here on Monday. They're going to limit it to like hard pass pool, basically. So I'll be outside. And then over the next few days, we need to wait for the Trump people to set up their policies. And once that's set up, hopefully we'll be back in here within a day or two. Let's grab our ladder for this departure. Oh. Somebody in the chat said they had the same ladder as me. Probably realize how heavy it is compared to all the other ladders. And then some of the other photographers are telling me, oh, you're going to need to get a bigger ladder when the Trump's here because there's so much press. We'll see. The roof.
Right, no, he said not to. Yeah. Right, no, he said not to. Yeah.
What was that truck? You see the snowman in the rose garden?
Yeah.
The snowman over there. Three abreast. Just a couple bad days of cold weather, it's never going to get used. Just, it's been a long time, so we got our we're on the scene. We've been told there's a staging area down to a shower, shave, kind of nice. Thanks. Not like a burger, but like have to take a shower, shave, kind of nice dinner. I will be around this weekend. If there's anything interesting, I will show it to you. Monday, all bets are off. Who knows what's going on? Nobody knows what's going on. But if there's something going on, I will try to show it to you. Thanks.
Our morning espressos look a little different on Virgin Voyages. 17 years with you. You still laugh at my stories, even though I know they're not that You'll read this when we're back home, but this will be with us forever.
Hey guys, good morning. It is Saturday morning, and I didn't intend to make a video today, but there is a protest going on down by the White House. Donald Trump's aircraft is Florida. He is on his way to Dulles Airport, not Andrews, Dulles, and I'm going to go out there and see if I can get you guys a photo. They've lit up red, white, and blue. Halfway to see access way to the airport. One of these cars, a lot of roads for him. Probably a ticket. Yep, there's police cars up on that bridge up there. Probably motorcade preparation. They're going to shut down a lot of roads for him. Getting out of here a little tricky. Okay, guys, greetings from a parking garage at Dulles Airport. I'm next to runway 19 Central, 19 Center. You planes will be coming in straight ahead towards me, and they'll be landing off to my left. We're not allowed to go on the roof due to security concerns, but I mean, I'm on the 4th floor instead of the 5th floor. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Let's see what we can see. He's over Fredericksburg, which is not that far away. We see him in about 10-15 minutes. That's it, guys. Donald Trump's plane has landed at Washington Dulles. Gotta snap some photos. A huge motorcade set up. Motorcade out there. Now we're gonna go try to catch the motorcade if we can. All right, yeah, that's his motorcade out there. My gosh, look at all those cars. Huge motorcade set up, and his aircraft is right there, pulling up to the motorcade. That's the motorcade. Motorcade, whatchamacallit, down this toll road to his, his golf course. We're going to try to get in position on the route so that we can film it for you, or I can film it for you, but I got to race and beat the road closures, which are going to be happening momentarily, just any moment. There's Eagle. So there's actually quite a few people out waiting for him to come by. He's due any minute, but... We're making the turn to the Trump National Golf Course. Yeah, the White House. They just left the golf course about 20-30 minutes to get here. About 12 minutes for me to get there. Hopefully I can get there in time. That was him. He's in the tent.
Where are we taking pictures at?
Trump.
I don't think so.
Trump just arrived. He's in the
picture down.
He's in the tent.
Where are we taking pictures at?
Trump.
I don't think so.
Trump just arrived. He's in the
picture down, Trump.
You want to bet? Okay, guys, Donald Trump is in the Blair House. That is the guest residence of the president. He will stay there until he moves into the White House, which is Monday at 12:01. Some of you will ask, when does Biden move out? 12:01. As soon as Biden and Trump leave the White House, they'll have a spot of tea before the inaugural, and then they'll drive down together to the Capitol. And as soon as they leave the White House grounds, the moving trucks come in. They take all of Biden's stuff out, and another truck brings in all of Trump's stuff. They have dozens, if not hundreds of workers, such that by the time Trump returns from the parade about 5 o'clock, his entire house is unpacked, set up, ready to go. He won't even notice a thing. That's it for today, guys. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow. Who knows? It's all crazy right now. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Wayfair helps all of us create a home we love.
The Wayfair vibe at our place is Western.
But we all got our own thing.
Drama.
Glamour.
Gardening.
In the Wayborhood, there's a place for all of us.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Yeah. Some old guy came up the sidewalk. I was sitting out there in a chair, and he came up the sidewalk. And first shirt I've ever seen had Biden and Kamala on it. And
okay, YouTube. Guess what's behind me? We are in for a treat. We're down at Trump Town in the little small town of Boone's Mill. The dude inside here is an absolute trip. This place is just out of control. Very special. We're gonna go inside and talk. Continue.
20. So I might that out on, and I keep.
Nobody knows more about cooking than me. Nobody, believe me, I'm the best cook. Everybody agrees. That is awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
Billions and millions of, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got the FU, the Donald Duck. Uh-oh. Bullseye.
Ow! You know, I had this bathing suit on Virginia Beach. And my husband said, I mean, people were coming up to me, and the flip-flops, the Confederate flip-flops, and people were coming up to me, oh, I got so many compliments. I had so many people around me about this bathing suit. Okay, people, there's a misunderstanding out there that this is hated. It's not.
Or it's a symbol of hate.
It's a symbol of hate.
Right.
But even today, that people hate it.
Yeah. Oh,
okay?
yeah.
They don't
it's,
want
it's very controversial.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
And that's not true. And when CNN came in and did the report, did you know the cameraman bought one for his wife?
Yeah, and he was a little skeptical. The CNN crew that came in to meet you was skeptical of the store and this, and then they ended up buying some of the stuff.
Yes.
See, you can have your minds changed.
Sure you can.
What? There's Trump stores.
Yes.
But why don't they have any stores for the other political party?
You know, I'm going to tell you, I've had people come in here that did not like my store. Did not like Trump, and that is exactly the question I asked. I said, you know what? I said, the Biden store is down the street if you can find it. Yeah, there is none. Why? Because nobody really. And I can tell you that that's just a testament to the fact that those numbers are fake.
The voting numbers.
And the support numbers, they're fake.
Mm-hmm.
They're fake, and that's why they have to cheat.
But it's also, it has to do with that they don't have a personality that people love and get behind, that have character, that are real people.
Right.
They don't have any superstars that you would go out of your way to buy something of theirs in the store.
Right.
I don't know if they're ever, I don't see anybody coming up on their roster that could match. And then down the road, about an hour away, is little Boone's Mill, Virginia. And another Trump town. This is where Whitey has his store. Boone's Mill is much smaller than Christiansburg. It's much more rustic. There's only 250. Just a shrine.
He made it authentic with his bandage.
Give that bullshit away.
Last week, she ended. It's border.
Or more online. But we have a gentleman that actually bought a pair of Rents an apartment. He tells us, hey, it's the only pair I wear. They're durable and comfortable. But we've got inauguration balls, regular balls, Trump Gold standard, hummingbird feeders.
Hummingbird feeders?
I mean, come on.
God,
Yes.
I never even heard the stuff they think of. It turns out the key to losing weight and keeping it off, it's not about digestive issues.
And just have a great time, because this is almost like a little Trump shrine or something. We can come in and mingle and have fun. You know?
I always wondered, why isn't there a Kamala store or a Joe Biden store?
Well, I've always wondered that myself. I said, where are the Joe Biden hats?
Yeah, where's the Joe Biden store?
Where's the Joe Biden shirts?
Where's the Kamala Mart?
But I think the answer is you have to come across the border, and then you get the Biden T-shirt and the Biden hat and a cell phone and all the benefits that you ever wanted.
They get all the
But
free
you have
stuff.
to come in the back door to get the Biden plan. You know?
That's right. All right.
But that was an interesting thing, interesting question.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
And because there wasn't the support there. There really wasn't. You saw the Biden rallies. They had these little circles that everybody had to stand in for COVID, and he couldn't even fill those circles, so he put reporters and stuff in them.
Well, I went to two Kamala rallies, and the people were dressed I didn't see a single flag. I didn't see a single patriotic anything. Some people had phrases, some kind of, I guess you could say, clever shirts, not going back, not my president, whatever. But there was no patriotic feeling at those rallies. It was just a bunch of just random hippie-like people with kind of just, they hate Trump.
I mean, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there.
You got it.
Yeah, this is actually a bonus. This is 2 paintings in one.
Oh, look at that! It changes.
Yeah, you can go back and forth. I got my wife one of these for Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why is this man so loved so much in this part of Virginia, Dave?
Well, I think he speaks for the people. Is when he first came out and started to make his speeches, he was saying things that we all wanted to say, where they're like, yeah, I always thought that. I wanted to say that, and it's just like, whatever he said, it was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I think. Well, I like this over here. You were talking about garbage trucks, garbage Trump or whatever.
Garbage truck.
She's got this.
Oh, we got the garbage truck.
She's got the garbage truck, and on the bottom, it has a label there that says,
Made in China, probably. What's your favorite thing in this store that you've bought? Can you show me?
Everything.
Everything.
Duckies, shirts, hats. This is one of the hats.
Yeah, look at that, sparkly.
And my buttons.
Oh, you got all the buttons on, Trump girl. Is he your favorite president ever?
Absolutely.
Why?
He did a lot for this country that other presidents hasn't done. And he knows, and he's very smart and bright, and he knows what he's doing, and he's very intelligent.
A lot of people don't like him.
I know. And they're not very smart.
So what happens if when Trump's not in office anymore? Is this place still going to be here, you think?
Well, I'm hoping one of Trump's sons will take over.
Oh, then we just keep the store going.
Keep it going.
Okay.
Keep the Trumps in the White House.
The Trump Jr. store.
Yeah, the Trump Jr.
All right.
Can I really be compensated for caring for a family member? Yes, eligible caregivers can earn up to $1,500 per month. Your compensation will depend on the state requirements and the level of care provided. What are the benefits of being employed as a family caregiver?
So this store is more than just a store. It's a gathering place for people from the community to come in and talk about similar viewpoints and just hang out, right?
Yes, it is. And people learn a lot about what's going on in our government. They learn that there is a deep state in case they don't know it already. And people's minds have been changed. Sometimes people are against Trump and they come in here and they change their minds. Sometimes they just want to give her a hard time, but it's a great place for people to meet and learn new things, and yeah. And I like this shirt too.
Oh, what's this shirt here?
This is.
Oh, scan me. Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can straighten it.
There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna take a picture of that. So QR code, hold it up to your TV or your whatever you got with your phone, and you will see what that is. That is a. All right, got a picture. Hopefully, some people saw that. That's pretty cool. What's your favorite thing in here? Do you have a favorite thing that maybe we haven't seen yet?
I haven't bought that hat. I just saw that there's hat at Trump 47. I need to get a cowboy hat.
Yeah, this one like this.
Yeah. I've been wanting to get a cowboy hat, and I just saw those a few minutes ago. I'm gonna have to get me a cowboy hat. My wife is gonna be disappointed.
Put it on. Let's see what it looks like on you. That looks sharp on you. Man, when you're out on the course, right? That's a perfect golfing hat.
You know, I know you guys are from North Carolina. Things that I don't understand is North Carolina had a super majority in the House and the Senate, and you guys didn't change your voting laws. You're still allowed to vote early. You're still allowed to vote by mail. You didn't go back to the pre-COVID-19 laws. And if I remember correctly, I can't remember the old governor's name, Cooper. He changed the voting laws, and he didn't have authority to do so.
God, Bob, I feel like I'm being attacked here.
You know, so I'm bummed. I'm disappointed in North Carolina having a super house and a super majority and didn't do their job.
Oh, sorry about that, Bob. Jeez. We're doing our best here. We voted for him. You guys didn't. I'm here to make everybody look good. Now, when we go to liberal land, we try to make people look bad. Oh, we're on? Did you get that on? Oh, okay, Frank.
Is this live going throughout the world?
Not yet. It will be in a couple days. Frank, we're here in the store. I hear that you're one of the favorite locals here that comes in all the time.
Well, I work here once a week.
Oh, you work here too?
That's
okay.
Right. And we always have big, long conversations.
Oh, look, he's got the shoes on.
That's right, I do.
Uh-oh, I need to...
Not only that, but it's hiding.
Oh,
it's hiding part of my decor.
That's amazing.
I had, yeah.
Oh my
now
gosh.
you haven't seen the whole get up that I have.
Now that I see him on you, I want him even
during the
more.
summer I wore shorts.
Yeah.
You know, red, white, and blue shorts, and then I'd have a shirt like this, and then I actually even wore a cape. With
You have
my
a
hat.
cape?
I have a cape. I didn't bring my cape.
Oh,
Sorry
you didn't
about
bring
that.
your cape. Well, what's a hero without a cape?
Well, you know, there was. Again, you can cut any of this out. So
we're not cutting any of it out.
Okay.
Twirl it, baby.
A lot of people would say, "Are you're pretty brave wearing that hat?" You know, I'm not from North. I'm from Northern Virginia.
You were brave.
That they would get. You know, there was a picture of a guy that was on.
With personal plea to put the prayer practicing on. I liked it in
Seriously injured. Afraid of.
wall. We have President Trump and Jesus. He's walking with Jesus.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like this picture is because he's actually walking on water.
He's walking on water.
He's walking on water with Jesus, and that's exactly what it's going to take to turn our country around. And we committed to praying at 3 p.m. on Mondays. There were 3 of us that
You have a prayer group here in the store.
Prayer group, yes.
Every Monday.
Every Monday. We did it from 21 until the election. And so being in the store, I saw so many people who were afraid to put out a sign. To get someone to put out a sign was really like pulling teeth, you know?
In their yard.
In their yard, just in their own personal yard.
Because they were afraid of people.
What somebody might say, what somebody might think, what somebody might do.
I know. Isn't that weird
Yes.
that you couldn't be vocal? You had to be a quiet Trumper. And that's why I think the polls were off. Because there were so many people that were not willing to admit publicly they were going to vote for the man.
Yes. And this is the whole thing. The other side is more vocal. I'm a former Democrat. I was raised Democrat. But when Reagan ran, President Reagan ran the first time, I switched. And I switched on the issue of abortion. And I said, the other side is just more vocal. You have to match your enemy, you know? And so people are saying, but we're nice. I said, no, you need to go look up the word nice. It's Latin and it means ignorant and foolish. It took a to know. With its own
Or
doesn't
he's a
mind.
common person
He
that we can
is.
relate to.
Oh,
He's not a
absolutely.
stiff politician that follows the rules of whatever. He goes off the cuff. He says things. Some of the things that he said have become catchphrases.
Absolutely.
And people have, or things that he didn't say. People, the "Let's go Brandon" stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't.
He's
have anything to do with
human.
that. He's a human.
Like us.
We can relate to him.
Yeah, we can relate to him. But he's himself.
Yeah.
And that's what I like more than anything else.
Yeah.
He is who he is.
We are. It's like even after he's out of office.
I'd say 20 years from now, it'll still be good.
You're still going to be.
Yeah, I think it'll be good 20 years from now.
Yeah. And how do you explain that?
It was all.
This is a map of the typical inauguration parade route that the president travels down with the help of thousands of security personnel. The parade starts at the north end of the Capitol building and then makes its way down Constitution Avenue before entering Pennsylvania Avenue, up 15th Street, and then ending at the White House. This 1.5 5-mile-long route is typically the most heavily guarded event in U.S. history, and the Secret Service assures to the public that they have everything completely under control.
No city
Other wish basically came true because as of 11:30 a.m. Eastern on January 17th, Donald Trump and his inauguration committee announced that the inauguration would be moving indoors. Not necessary. Now this is a little disclaimer, but I was actually getting ready to post a full video on how exactly the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies were preparing to have a secure inauguration outdoors, where Trump would have been sworn in outside the Capitol Rotunda. I also traveled down to DC myself and walked the entire inauguration parade route, mapping out where sniper locations would be, where security checkpoints would be set up, and took videos of all the extremely important measures that the Secret Service puts in place to keep the president safe. With the inauguration ceremony and parade now being held indoors, well, I had to basically change up the whole video. So how this video is now structured is the first half we will dive into how the indoor inauguration will look and the new security preparations that are being made, and then the second half of the video will be what the typical inauguration security looks like at one of the most potentially dangerous days for any US president. Now, even though the inauguration ceremony is being held inside the Capitol Rotunda and the parade is being moved inside Capital One Arena, there are still significant security risks in play. The only other time the inauguration ceremony took place inside the Capitol Capitol Rotunda ceremony for the 2025 inauguration is still unknown, but what is known is where the entrances to the Capitol building are located. There's typically 5 different ways to make it into the Capitol building, legally that is. There's the primary entrance, also known as the Capitol Visitor Center, located below the East Front Plaza. This is where visitors and tourists are able to enter the Capitol building, separated from where the lawmakers enter the Capitol. The Senate is able to enter the Capitol building through the north door, which leads directly to the Senate chamber, and then the south door is used by the House members, leading directly to the House chamber. The fourth option for entering the Capitol building is through the extensive network of subway lines and tunnels underground. Lawmakers have their own subway system consisting of 3 different lines. There's the House subway, which connects the Rayburn building to the Capitol building, and then the other 2 lines are on the Senate side, which connect the Capitol with the Russell, Dirksen, and Hart buildings. There's over a dozen other walking tunnels that connect the Capitol to other nearby buildings, typically only being used by lawmakers and their staff. Lastly, there's the press entrances to the Capitol building on the east and west side to have an efficient screening process. During Reagan's 1985 inauguration inside the Rotunda, members of Congress, Supreme Court justices, and other VIPs mainly entered through the east front entrance, which is technically the front of the Capitol entrance, and even provide shelter from the extreme cold expected to hit Washington, D.C. Although this ceremony will likely be a very small private event, what will include many more people and privacy risks.
Listen, you want to skip this ad. I would too. But what if I told you there's a skip ad
is the new inauguration parade that's being held inside Capital One Arena. The inauguration ceremony has been held indoors several times in the past, but there has never been a parade that's moved indoors until 2025. At Capital One Arena, there's 4 entrances. There's the main entrance on 6th Street, the smaller gallery place entry north 1,000 people, and every seat is expected to be filled. Now, because the inauguration parade has never been held there before, there's no data to support how exactly the security could look and what entrances will be used to access the arena through the main 6th Street Northeast entrance. Extremely rare indoor inauguration will be secured in 2025. There's much more known about how the Secret Service typically protects outdoor inaugurations. The Secret Service deploys many different tactics and strategies to ensure the safety of the president and everyone attending the event. Many of these self-service would have done to protect the president on such a potentially dangerous day. My journey began at the Capitol building, which had been sworn safely in front of the Capitol building all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial. Part of what makes this inauguration in 2025 especially high risk is the fact that other major world leaders may be in attendance.
President-elect Donald Trump,
Prime Minister, and crews were hard at work making sure that this West Lawn was being secured. The inauguration committee also makes sure to practice the actual ceremony well in advance of the big day.
Right now, you're having the bands, you have a full dress rehearsal out here, and if you go to the center, you can see the podium. That's where the swearing-in ceremony.
Just this, all attendees are required to enter the mall through various security checkpoints. In the National Mall, ready to take out a potential gunman, like in the event of Trump's Butler, Pennsylvania rally. While most of these snipers on the rooftops are normally visible to the public, what isn't as visible is the undercover agents scattered amongst the crowd.
But some of the security is meant to be nearly actually
hat for this inauguration, or even being aggressive. These agents dress in plain clothes, or will even wear clothing pertaining to the event they are attending, like a MAGA hat for this inauguration. These undercover Troop team comes with unique and deterring potential threats, but this extremely high number of troops also comes with unique challenges. For insight, with the 25,000 use their power to turn against the president or other compromised or for insider threats. This insider threat is where a potentially compromised or mentally ill guard could use their power to turn against the president or other leaders that they are there to protect. To mitigate this risk, groups of National Guard troops are paired with federal law enforcement and Secret Service members who act as an oversight. Out of the 25,000 National Guard troops deployed for the 2021 inauguration, only 2,000 of them were given a gun with live ammo. The other 23,000 were either given no gun at all or were given a gun with no ammo, serving as a decoy. 2 terrorist attacks took place on the first day of 2020 extremely seriously. These checkpoints ensure that nobody can get close to the parade with any prohibited items, and there will be or no cans alongside Pennsylvania Avenue. Additionally, the Secret Service typically covers up any manholes or storm drains along this parade route so that nobody could access the parade from underground. Although the snow was hiding most of the storm drains at the time of me filming this video, I still found several that were open, likely to drain the snowmelt as the temperatures begin to lights. Time the actual parade. As the president walked with Trump to be stuck in this awkward position. Many believe that this is actually a prosthetic hand, and the agent's real arm was on a firearm in the event that he would have to use it very suddenly. The law enforcement personnel along the parade route are also very heavily armed. Notice the FBI headquarters conveniently sits along the parade route.
For the inauguration, the FBI will operate 2 command posts, one at the Washington Field office and one at FBI headquarters.
As the president and his motorcade continue making their way down Pennsylvania Avenue, they end up turning north onto 15th Street Northwest, heading towards the White House. The president will likely be back in his motorcade in D.C. I saw workers finalizing the construction of this viewing stand, as well as the security. Nonetheless, the viewing stands for the president and his family being built are most likely bulletproof and will be much more heavily secured on the day of the non-illegal immigration that are
Well, thank you, Ivanka.